Hey there, guys. We're live now. I think everything's working. Looks like it. So let's get discussions out of the way. We'll jump into it here. We've got the weekly live broadcast Thursday evenings, pretty much every Thursday evening. I don't know if I'll make it next week or not, probably, but we'll see. But anyway, pretty much every Thursday evening, 7 o'clock Central. This is where I am. You're welcome to come in here. I do my best to respond to every chat that comes in during the broadcast itself in the live chat. And unless you're talking to each other, and those are fine. I just skip over those a lot of the time to get to somebody that has a question or a comment that I need to respond to. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. It doesn't really matter. I mean, politics, religion, all the taboo subjects, I don't really care. But I do ask that you keep it family friendly, be polite, don't be hateful with anybody. We can have a difference of opinion. We can debate things. We can just be friendly about it when we do it. There's no reason to be upset or hate anybody because they have a difference of opinion than you. All right, let's jump into it. We got Chester Hickman here. Says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, Chester. Good to see you. Ed Gabade, haven't seen you in a while, says, good evening, everyone. Hi, Chris and Verna. Hope all is well. I'm doing well. Hopefully you are too. We missed you at QuailCon this year, but hopefully we'll get to see you sometime soon. Woodchuck says, good evening from Winter Haven, Florida. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Chester says, going to breed all my rabbits on Sunday for our county fair. Well, good luck. Hopefully that goes well. Woodchuck says, rabbits in my future, I have to grate the wife on, get the wife on board first. Yeah, that can be tricky sometimes, I guess. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that. My wife was fine with it. I had rabbits before we ever met, but that's okay. She was fine with it either way. Good luck with that. Hopefully it works out. Verna says, hey, Chris, fifth like. Fifth like. Well, thank you. Yeah, I had like 7 likes. I hadn't even started yet. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate that. Verna says, after the stream, I have to go cook dinner. Yeah, I think I'll skip dinner tonight. We had our work Christmas thing. They catered it in one of the local barbecue places. Not really the best place, but it wasn't bad. It was free food. So I took advantage of that and it was pretty decent. So I'm not really hungry now. I think I'll skip dinner tonight, but we'll see. David Lister says, hey, Chris, Verna, Ed, and all from Oklahoma. Good to see you, David. Thanks for joining. Verna, 5 shopping days until Christmas. Is everyone done with their Christmas shopping? I think I am. I mean, I may come up with something additional, little things here or there. I don't know, but I think I'm pretty much done. We'll see. Alaska Nomad says, what happened to the lives from my shire? Are they okay? I actually haven't kept up with Zach's videos much. I should. I mean, he's a friend of mine. But I haven't been doing that much. I'm sure he's okay. I know he's got a lot going on right now, some family stuff. Nothing, I mean, I say family stuff. Nothing really bad necessarily. I mean, could be, I guess. I don't know, but I'm assuming they're okay. I just haven't talked to him much. I did get a text from him a little bit ago asking for some photos I took while I was at QuailCon. Seemed to be doing okay. I asked. He said everything was all right. But that's the extent of the conversation we had at that time. Buck Reynolds says, hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, again, I'm doing well. Hopefully you are too. Let's see. Verna's saying that Zach's going to start back up again after the first of the year. Joy says, good evening, everyone from Western Oregon. Been fighting the flu. Hard to do chores when you're sick. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully it's not too bad. I know the flu can get pretty serious at times. Hopefully you get over it before Christmas. I don't know if you have Christmas plans or anything, but it's always a terrible time to be sick and have to, I don't want you to have to miss any kind of family thing because of that. Woodtick says, wife is slowly turning to the rabbit dark side. The dark side, huh? Why has it got to be the dark side? Why can't it be the other side? I mean, it's like, what's the opposite of the dark side? Is it the light side? I don't know, honestly. It's been a while since I've watched Star Wars. All I know is the dark side. But I don't know what the opposite of that is. But why couldn't the rabbits be the opposite of the dark side? Why does it have to be the dark side? I don't know. All right, what are you doing, Max? Quit digging with the carpet. All right. Let's see where we at here. Verna says, Woodtick explained to her that the breeders can be pets, but the others are food. That could work. David Lister says, my wife is preparing rabbit stew for the kids' upcoming Christmas visit this weekend from our own rabbits, of course. Well, that doesn't sound too bad at all. I've got I got a pretty big cooking day ahead of me. I do pretty much all the cooking for Christmas. I host. So we've got sorry, I got distracted by something up there. I forgot what I'm like, what is that? That's not important right now. Where was I going with that? Let's see. I'm going to be doing a turkey. I've got a ham I'm going to smoke on the smoker. It's already smoked, so it'll be a double smoked ham, spiral cut. My broccoli, rice, and cheese casserole. I make a pretty good one of those. Everybody kind of expects that. Let's see what else. Probably some Brussels sprouts, a couple pumpkin pies, mashed potatoes, giblet gravy, some stuffing. Is that everything? I don't know. That may be all of it. I don't know. But I'm going to be cooking a lot for Christmas. Oh, and deviled quail eggs. We'll have some deviled quail eggs because I got a whole bunch of them. Verna says, don't forget to give Chris a thumbs up. Well, thank you, Verna. I appreciate that. Yeah, we got 12 thumbs up already. 26 people in here. So that's not bad. All right. No comments all of a sudden. Or no chats coming in all of a sudden. So I'm kind of at a loss. What do I have to talk about? This is the last broadcast before Christmas. I didn't get a video out this week. I'll see what I can do to get a video out this coming week. With Christmas coming up, we were just pretty busy. My mother-in-law has been kind of sick, so we've had to go over there and do some things to help her, get some laundry done and some of those kinds of things. It was just kind of a busy weekend. I just didn't get to it, unfortunately. But Heather Brooks says, hey, Chris, finally caught you. Thank you for joining tonight. Appreciate that. I'm glad you caught me. So Stacy says, if you have kits that mother isn't feeding them, would you try to supplement them or just let them die? Well, excuse me. All right, a couple of things I would say is, are you sure she's not feeding them? I think I don't know how new you are to rabbits, so forgive me if you're pretty experienced, you know what you're doing. But if you're new to rabbits, I think a lot of people, when they're new to rabbits and they first have their first litter, they think they just worry about that, the baby's not being fed. I've actually never had a mother rabbit that didn't feed her babies. Now, it's happened to other people I know, but it's never happened to me. But yet, I think I've only ever seen it actually be, actually a mother feeding her babies maybe 2 or 3 times at the most. Out of all the litters I've ever had, you hardly ever see the mother in the nest box with the babies and actually feeding them. It just is a rare thing. They tend to do it in the middle of the night or something like that when nobody's around. But if the babies are doing okay and they're not like overly skinny, scrawny, if they're like active and fairly plump, they're being fed. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Now, with that being said, if you know for sure she's not feeding them, then yeah, you can go ahead and supplement them. Look for like a kitten milk replacement or a goat milk replacement at a feed store or something. Use that to try to supplement them with. And you can feed them a couple of times a day with that. And hopefully that does it. I mean, if you want to just let them go, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You could do that, just kind of let nature take its course, I guess. But hopefully that kind of answers the question for you. Let's see, where were we at here? Let's see. I don't know who you're talking to, Heather. You're saying, of course, hon. I don't know who that's referring to, but if it's me, well, thank you, I guess. All Clean Exteriors LLC says, hello, just got done butchering. Well, thanks for joining us. That's always it can be. I mean, it depends on what you were processing, I guess, but that can be a little bit of a chore for sure. So hopefully it went well. Woodtick says she's hung up on the cute part of rabbits. Well, yeah, I mean, I get that. It's kind of difficult to get around that, of course. And I don't know how she is with red eyes. Sometimes that freaks people out. So you might get some white rabbits with red eyes that, they're not as cute to her, maybe. I don't know. But Verna says the way to check if she is feeding is to check for their round belly. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Stacy says, yeah, I get that, but they are very skinny and dying. Oh, no. Okay, so yeah, you're pretty familiar with it then. Well, I don't know if you can definitely supplement it. Like I said, kitten milk replacement, a goat milk replacement, get that from a local feed store or something like that. And, try to feed them a couple of times a day. Whether I would do that or not, I don't know, honestly, if I would. It's a lot of work. And I hate to say that in that sense, but, oh, you were responding to me. Heather says, you said good, LOL. That's what, okay. I get it now, what you were responding to. So there's a little bit of a lag from whenever I say things to whenever you guys hear it to whenever you respond to it. So sometimes your response, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but sometimes I, can follow along. Anyway, so back to Stacy's thing. Yeah, I'm sorry you're having that issue. I don't know. Hopefully my answer was a good one. You got what you needed out of that. If there's something else you need on that, let me know for sure. And good luck with them. I hope that you get it figured out. Heather Brooks says, I'm fixing to finally build one of your coops. You must be in the South, huh? Saying hun and fixing to, that sounds like Texas to me, but I don't know. Maybe I'm close, maybe I'm not. Hopefully it goes well. Those coops have worked out well for me. Hopefully they work out well for you too. Boris says, hello, Chris. Yep, South Carolina. I was close, wasn't I? Boris says, hello, Chris. Good to see you, Boris. Thanks for joining. Verna says, let's see, Stacy, her milk may not have come in. Did you breed two does at the same time? Sometimes you can have the other doe foster them. Yeah, that's always an option too if you have another doe. Woodtick says, my first batch of quail go in lockdown on Christmas Eve. Well, good luck with your hatch. Hopefully it goes well. Going into lockdown gives you a couple of days. So, day after, maybe 2 days after Christmas at the most, I would say you should have a bunch of quail. All right. And again, we hit the end of the comments section. And this is the time where I say every week I should have something planned out to talk about. And I don't have much of anything to talk about. Nothing too exciting happened this week. Like I said, we've been busy with just kind of trying to wrap up things, helping my mother-in-law where we can. And, she's got RSV and it turned into bronchitis. So, and she's in her late 80s. So, it's a struggle for her. Hopefully she gets better pretty quick. But Woodtick says, here's to hoppin'. Is it hoppin'? Is that what that is? Or is it hoping? I don't know. Either way. Joy says, let's see, Stacy, if you decide to feed them, try using a small paintbrush to get them started. We'll feed them without drowning them. Well, that's a good idea. I hadn't even thought about that, but that's a good idea. RBL Jackson wants to know, did you get a deer this year? No, I did not. I didn't even see one that was worth shooting, really. Saw one the very first day I went out early, or I say early. It was bow season at the time. But anyway, I had to get the comment highlighted where I left off. It was bow season at the time, and it was pretty early in the season. I saw one that was on the verge. Had it come by the last day of the season, I probably would have taken it. But first day of the season, I'm like, no, I'm going to let that one pass because, he's just on the verge of being quite big enough. Not that I'm a trophy hunter necessarily, but, I do want to get mature deer. I don't want to take the young ones. I want to give them time to grow and time to breed and pass on their genes and those kinds of things. But that was it. The rest of the season, I didn't see all I saw was does and a couple little spike bucks. David says 42 quail zoomies out of 77 as of this evening. I don't know if your hatch is done or not yet, but still, congratulations on that. Hopefully you're going to get a few more out of them. Alaskan says, baby quail would be a great present to yourself for Christmas. Indeed. And Verna says, I'm almost done with the fingerless gloves I'm crocheting for my daughter. Well, good thing they're not fingered gloves because you wouldn't be almost done with them, would you? But no, I'm kidding. That's impressive because I can't crochet. I mean, I learned to crochet when I was a kid. My grandma was big into crocheting, so I learned it. But all I learned to do was just like crocheting a big long chain. I never really learned anything more than that. Never got into crocheting. I could do macrame, so I'm confident I could probably pick crocheting up. But I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but there's similarities. So I don't know. Maybe I will someday. Who knows? Andy says, Merry Christmas from Southwest Michigan, everybody. Merry Christmas to you, too. And if you guys haven't watched it, I posted a couple of years ago. Well, it's been several probably. There's a great video called The Bethlehem Star. That's it's like a study of the Star of Bethlehem. Like, what was it and where did it appear? And let's see if I can find it and all. I don't know. Maybe it's too take me too long to find it. I think it's called The Bethlehem Star. Let me look real quick. Let's see. I think maybe it's the Bethlehem or the Star of Bethlehem. I think that may be it. I don't know, honestly. I think that's it. It's hard for me to find. There's a place where you can buy it, but I think you can find it on YouTube for free as well. And it's who is this? Well, I'll have to take a look at that sometime later. So anyway, you might check that out if you're a Christian especially, but even if you're not and you want to watch something that's pretty interesting that may convince you, it's a good one. RBL Jackson says, sorry to hear that. We didn't get any last year. The year we have tagged, or this year we have tagged one small buck, still have doe tags, also trapped one hog so far. Yeah, I didn't even see any hog. I mean, I've got hogs on the trail cam, but I didn't see any when I was out hunting. So who knows? There's still a little bit of bow season left. I don't know if I'll get back out and do it again. I mean, the rut's passed, so it makes hunting even harder. But who knows? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try. I didn't shoot a doe. I don't really like to shoot does. We don't have an abundance of them out there on the property that I'm hunting. It's private land. So I don't really want to necessarily take a doe. I'm not against other people doing it. It's just we don't have a huge amount of them. So kind of just let them go. Stacy says she's a first-time mom. They are 9 days old. Don't have another mother right now, sadly. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't have good suggestions for you I mean, if you want to supplement feed them. That's really about the only thing you can do. I don't see any, either that or just like I said, let nature take its course and hope that she does start taking care of them. That's a that's a bad sign though. If your mother doesn't feed the babies, I think I'd give her one more chance. And if it happens again, I wouldn't breed her again. I'd look at replacing her. But that, I mean, I've never had a rabbit that just didn't feed her babies. It never happened. Just out of curiosity, though, you're not feeding like mint or dandelions or some of those kinds of things to them, are you? It seems to me, and I may be wrong on the dandelions, but it seems to me like mint for sure, I believe, and I think dandelions kind of fall into that group too. I think they're related to mint, but I may be wrong on this one. But they can like dry up a doe, like cause her not to produce milk and stuff like that. So you may look at, I mean, if you're feeding some greens and things like that, that may be part of the problem. I don't know. Heather Brooks says, what do you think about making a large coop to put hatching time breeder cages inside to protect the birds, using a large door in the front to open up to be able to get all the bids? I don't know what all the bids means. Probably maybe all the eggs, maybe. I mean, yeah, you could definitely do that. It seems like overkill to me. I mean, if you're going to build a large coop, why not just put them in the coop? Maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying, but I mean, yeah, if you got hatching time cages and you want to use those and you want to build something around it to kind of protect them from everything, I mean, there's no reason you can't do that. And Joy says, hey, Verna, I want to see those. I crochet as well. Yeah, it's always a skill that I've thought about picking up and just have never done it. Nuno says, I'm trying to go back breed rabbits again. I used to breed New Zealand whites. I heard about silver fox. Are they good meat rabbit? And how do you compare them both? Well, I do like the silver foxes, and yeah, they're a good meat rabbit. The only problem I have is, at least the silver foxes I have, they tend to grow out pretty slow. So they're more like a 12 weeks before they get to, the 5 pound-ish range, whereas my New Zealands tend to be there more like 8 weeks. But that's the only problem. But all the ones I have are easy to handle. They've just got good temperaments. I really don't have any problems. They're good mothers. I mean, no problems other than it takes them a little longer to grow out. That's about it. Scott Harris says, hey, Chris, how you doing? I'm doing well. Hopefully you are too. Verna says says to Joy that will match the scarf I made her and gave her already for Christmas. Well, that's cool. A scarf and fingerless gloves. Resident Alien says the documentary, The Bethlehem Star, the one where they look at the stars during the time period of Christmas. That's it. Yeah, that's the one. I can't remember who that was. That's an older thing. It's been out for a long time. But it is a fascinating study. It's really worth watching if you have never seen it before. I posted it, I think, in the Facebook group years ago for people to watch, but I'd take me a while to go back and find that probably. I'm not very active on social media. I'm not very good. I'm the worst at it. Verna says, it's always good to hear two does at a time. Oh, it's always good to breed two does for a time for things like that. Yeah, I mean, you could for sure. And Verna says, Chris, it could be a problem that her milk didn't come in. Often happens to new does. And yeah, it could be. I don't know how often it happens. I think it's fairly rare still. But oh, birds. You meant birds, not bids, not eggs. Okay, gotcha. I'm with you, Heather. Yeah, I don't know that it's really all that common. Like I said, I've never had that issue, but it's a possibility. It could be just a one-time thing. She's a new mother. I don't know. Is she maybe a little on the young side? That could be part of the issue too. I don't know. Hey, there's 340 Quail Farm, Mount Dora, Florida. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Heather Brooks says for breeding. I don't know what you mean. You want to use hatching time cages because you want to breed them. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can, yeah, like I said, if you want to do that for sure. I use a big coop and I just put all my breeders in there, let them breed. I mean, I don't separate them out in breeding pairs or anything like that. It's just like right now I've got like 12, 13 hens and 3 roosters. So they all breed. I mean, it's just how it goes, but you can do it however you want to. Verna says, Joy, you can always check my lives on Saturday to see what I'm working on. There you go. Mick says, is there much of a production difference between the different breeds of rabbits? There can be. When we're talking like purebred rabbits, yeah, there can be a production difference. Typically, yeah, my silver fox doe, she does have a little bit smaller litters. I usually get 5, maybe 6 out of her. And they grow out a little bit slower. So yeah, there's production difference that direction, but that's her. I mean, not every rabbit's the same. I've had New Zealand whites that just produce smaller litters. I've had New Zealand whites that produce great big litters. So, I mean, it's, you can't really say for sure just because it's a silver fox that they are going to be, smaller litters or grow out, slower or anything like that. But that's just my experience with it. Some of these people, maybe they have had more silver foxes because I've only had a handful of them. You guys can maybe speak to that just a little bit better. Stacy says, no, but I was feeding her some calf manna to help produce milk. Was advice from another breeder. Only thing was different than just pellets and hay. Well, yeah, it doesn't sound like any feeding issues. Calf manna is good for that. I've never had to do that. But it sounds like you're doing the right thing. So it's nothing you're doing necessarily. I chalk it up to first-time mom. Hopefully her milk does come in. Hopefully she does start feeding them, but you may want to supplement them in the meantime if you can. Rebel says, Merry Christmas to all from Virginia. Merry Christmas to you too. Good to see you. Heather says, hear y'all talking about the star that led the wise men to, are you all talking about the star that led the wise men to Jesus? Yeah, that's it. That's the one we're talking about. I think it's called the Bethlehem Star. No, the Star of Bethlehem. There we go. I used to be able to find the whole thing on YouTube. I don't know if it's still out there for free or if it's something that you have to like buy the video, but it is really good study of that and just kind of talks about like what's going on at the time that Jesus was born, and it ties it into like the book of Revelation, where the book of Revelation is talking about like the dragon being prepared to devour the child, and you could see it in the constellations at the time that Jesus was born. It's incredibly, it's very good study. All right, Jimbo says, for outdoor cages, have you heard of anyone using reptile heat tape under the sand beds for heat? I don't think I have, but I don't see any reason to do that, honestly. If we're talking about like, full-grown quail or quail that 5 or 6 weeks old or older, then I don't see any reason to supplement them with heat. I mean, they handle the cold incredibly well. As long as they can get out of the wind, as long as they have a wind block, they don't need the heat. I just have never experienced any issues with that. And we get down below 0 at times and they're fine. David says, we put nesting boxes in with our New Zealand white doe and California doe today. The buck was our California for both. Well, good luck. Hopefully you have some good litters out of that. Heather says, I'm starting genetics colors. I'm not sure what that means exactly. You're starting to, wait a minute, I think I may get it. That's why you want to separate them out in breeding cages, because you want to keep the genetics clean for the colors that you've got. Okay, that makes sense. Verna says Havana's give 6 to 9 on average of kits. Those are pretty good litter sizes. Heather says it's Saturn and Jupiter overlapping. I'm an astrologist, so the planets look very large. Okay, so yeah, so what you're saying is the Bethlehem star was Saturn and Jupiter overlapping each. Oh, maybe. I mean, it could be, but you know, I don't. That's not really the point necessarily of that study. It's still a pretty good one to watch. Nick says, review of the Do More cages. Can you make a video on them? I saw your comment, I think, on that come through, and I thought, yeah, that'd be a good one. I've had them probably, oh my goodness, has it been a year or 2 years? I don't know. It's been a little while. I posted video whenever I got them, so I'll have to look back and see when that was, how long I've had them, and I can do a review on them. I'll save it for video because you asked for it on video, so we'll do it. Let's see. RBL Jackson says, I've got hatching time cages I'd sell if you were anywhere near West Texas, 3 egg laying layers and 2 brooder layers with heat. Well, there you go. I have not heard real good things about hatching time cages. I haven't used them myself, so I can't really speak to them from personal experience, but yeah, that's just what I've heard. Chester says, I have New Zealand, California, and Palomino rabbits. Oh, the Palominos are pretty cool too. I have seen those for sure. Heather says, oh, for sure, I love a good history documentary. I knew what you said hood, but I knew what you meant. I translated that correctly. Autocorrect is difficult, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, it's a really good one. I don't know if you're a Christian or not. And as a Christian, I kind of find it very fascinating. It just talks, it's hard to say. You just have to watch it. I won't do it justice. RBL Jackson says, and to be clear, they are great. I just don't like having to keep them in the garage due to dust. Hatching time cages. Oh, okay. So your hatching time cages are great. Good. Well, good to know. Like I said, I haven't heard great things about them, but you know, I haven't got a personal experience with them anyway. But yeah, I know what you mean. I don't like keeping my birds in the garage either because of the dust. You know, that's difficult. Verna says, I've been looking at cashmere rabbits for their fur, an interesting breed. I'm not familiar with them. I'd have to look them up and read more about them. I guess if you want good fur, I mean, the silver foxes are supposed to be dual purpose for their fur, but I think it's hard to beat Rex, right? Rex is the standard, and they do make a standard. I mean, they don't make it, you know, there is a standard Rex. So a lot of times when you think of Rex, you think the mini Rex, but there's a standard Rex that makes a decent meat rabbit. If you want a dual purpose fur meat rabbit, I think the Rex is supposed to be like the premier fur, isn't it? They are incredibly soft. It's something else. But anyway, Nick says, thank you very much for that. The fact that you remembered my comment means a lot, and I've learned so much from your videos, especially when I was deciding to get into raising quail. Well, thank you for the kind comments there. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do see the comments. I've been terrible about responding to them because I get so many, but I do see them. And a lot of times that's what I get my video ideas from, is the comments that come through on the videos. I'm like, oh, somebody wants that. I can do that video. So I'll see what I can do and get out there and get a review of the cages made for you. Heather says, I heard rats can eat straight through the hatching time. Well, but rats can eat through a lot of things. So, you know, I don't know that that's necessarily a downside of hatching time cages. They're all plastic as far as I know. So, yeah, they probably could chew right through them. Herbie L. Jackson says, what I like about them is the ability to clean them each year with a pressure washer with heaters removed. Well, yeah, that's a good point too. David says, how large do your Tamuk rabbits get? Tamuks are basically a New Zealand white. So they're going to get about the size of a New Zealand white. They are, you know, 10-ish pounds when they're full grown, something like that. Verna says you have to shave them like you do sheep. Their fur is great for making cashmere yarn. Interesting. Is that like, well, I know there's Angora rabbits, and they're kind of similar, I think, but I'd never heard of cashmere ones. All Clean Exterior says, do you know rough dressed weight for your quail when you butcher? I don't weigh them. I don't have any idea. Probably, I don't know. It'd just be a guess, and I'd probably be way off. I really don't know. Somebody might. Verna probably has weighed them before. I don't know. Yeah, Verna says 60% of live weight. I was going to say that too. That's probably about right. Heather says, that's why I want to put them in a large coop. They can't get to them. I love Naomi's layout and Rebecca Lynch, but I love your coops. I don't know Naomi's layout. I don't know who Naomi is right offhand, or Rebecca Lynch right off. I mean, the names sound familiar, but I don't know who they are right offhand. Probably shouldn't I? Yep, Verna says I did weigh them once long ago. I figured you did. I've weighed, quail before, but I never really compared that to. But it's pretty typical. You're going to get about 60% of live weight when you process just about any animal. And Verna says, yeah, they're a breed of lop rabbits. Interesting. I'll have to look those up. Scott says, can I put a light on my quail now to get them to start laying? And how long does it take to get them to start? I've had a light on mine for a couple of weeks and nothing so far. Yes, you can absolutely put a light on them right now. It's harder to get them to start laying once they've stopped than it is to keep them from laying. But you need 14 hours a day of light, roughly, to get them laying. And it's going to take a couple of weeks for that to kick in. So if you said you've had it on them for a couple of weeks, give them a little bit more time, and you're probably pretty close to getting some eggs out of them. As long as you got enough daylight. As long as you got enough light, 14 hours a day. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Verna's saying basic same thing. It will take a couple of weeks. So yeah, you said you had them on a couple of weeks. I'm guessing you're pretty close to, getting some eggs out of them. Woodtick says, I think Rebecca is from Thieving Otter Farms. Oh, that may be right. I've heard of that before. I'm just not real familiar with them. New Zealand Rabbit Riot says, I have a New Zealand around 10 months old, and she refuses to lift for my buck and never had a litter. I tried a lot of different things. Have you had to try rubber band method to get the job? No, I've never done that actually. 10 months old, she should be old enough, but you may just need to give her a little bit more time. Try again. Just keep trying. Chances are she will go ahead and start lifting for you. Heather Brooks says, yes, she is. And something is in Kansas. Nay is in Kansas. Was that the other person you said? Naomi is in Kansas, maybe? Okay. I don't know what part of Kansas, but depending on it, she may be pretty close to me. Yep. I figured that one out. Naomi. Yeah. Takes me a minute sometimes, but I figured it out. Yeah, I don't know who that is right offhand. I have to look him up. Oh, I'm gonna yawn. Oh no, sorry. That's probably makes everybody else yawn too, right? It's a contagious thing. Heather says I'm so dang country. That's okay. We all are. Well, not all of us, I guess, but Woodtick says she has a new YouTube, Two Chicks Caternix. Okay. I'll see if I can look that up. So let's see. Oh, there's a podcast. There's oh my goodness. Let's see. Yeah, I'll check that out later. Hey, there's George says, you know what they say, better late than never. Yeah, no kidding. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. And Heather says, yeah, it's great. Well, nice. I'll have to check them out. Let's see. Where is... I don't know. I'll check it out later. Heather says, yeah, they do a lot of stuff with Terry on Katernick's Corner. Okay. Makes sense. I've been on Katernick's Corner once or twice. Haven't talked to Terry in a little while. I was on there, I guess it's been a couple of months ago. But Mark says, can you fix splayed legs on a week-and-a-half-old quail? Was fine till one day, had wry neck and splayed leg. Call. Personally, yeah, I would call it. But, I mean, it's possible to fix it. It seems weird. You're saying a week and a half old and then just started displaying these symptoms and didn't have them before that. That, I mean, a lot of times that could be because of vitamin deficiencies. Probably not. I mean, depending on, I mean, if you're feeding them a decent, quail feed, then it's probably not that issue, but that could be. I think it's vitamin E and thiamine are the two that would be deficient to cause that. If it's just one bird, that's probably not the issue. My guess is that it was kind of leaning towards that anyway, and it just took a little bit of time for it to kind of really fully show. As far as trying to fix it, it's a possibility, but it's incredibly hard in my experience to get those, especially wry neck. Splay legs, even though it's incredibly hard to get those fixed unless you catch it right away and you treat it right away. I would probably just go ahead and call. That's how I would handle it. George says, my Cadbury cream eggs didn't hatch. I had quite a poor hatch rate this time, 17 of 28. I can't say I'm terribly surprised. We talked about it, that it's unlikely that they would hatch, but hey, at least you tried. Sorry you had a bad hatch. It happens to all of us. If you haven't already, double check your incubator, make sure it's calibrated and it's actually reading temperature correctly. Or just try again. See how it goes the next time. David says, we lost my favorite jumbo white wing female today. I called her Florence Nightingale because she could sing so well. She loved to cuddle too. Part of life on the homestead, I guess. It is. Yeah, that's sorry to hear that, but quail don't live all that long, so I'm sorry. It like you said, it's part of it. There's nothing you can do about it, is there? Bev Smith is here. Good to see you. Says hey to everybody. Heather says, you should talk to him. Last I heard, he's looking for guests. Yeah, he reaches out to me every once in a while. I'll jump on his channel for a live every once in a while. Where are we at here? Oh, and you've seen me on with him. So, yeah. I've been on his channel a couple of times, 2 or 3. Vernon says, Bev, all work and no play makes life miserable. Yeah, well, it does for sure. George says, I just hatched a bunch of white wing jumbos. Talking to Dave Lister. If you live near me, I'd give you a couple. That's very nice of you. I think there's quite a difference, though. It'd be difficult to get your birds over to them, probably. And Bev says, I have a hatch happening right now. Well, that's exciting. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully you get a good hatch rate out of it. How are we doing in here one time? 20 minutes left. Well, 22 minutes. So we got a little bit of time left. And the comments have stopped again. Get a drink. Maybe there'll be a few more. Bev says, just regular wilds seem like what most people are buying at the moment. Those are my favorite. Well, not regular. The jumbo wilds are the ones that I like. I mean, I don't personally, because I raise for meat and eggs, I don't see, I mean, that's the best bang for your buck, in my opinion, jumbo wild. I mean, you can feather sex them. They're just easier. They seem to be more docile than some of the other colors and stuff. So that's just what I prefer, actually. Vernon wants to know when the kit's arriving from the Tamuk. Probably, I want to say it's like 2nd or 3rd week of January. I don't remember exactly. I got to look back at the date. But it's just been like 2 weeks since I bred her. So Bev says, I prefer the colors, but it takes longer to turn them around. Hey, I understand. I don't actually sell many birds anymore because there's just not much of a market here for them. But, yeah. George says, a balmy 29 degrees Celsius today. Nice change from the 38 degrees Celsius plus that we've had for the past week. It kills our crops at the heat. Yeah. Well, what is 29 Celsius in Fahrenheit? I don't know what that is, but that doesn't seem too bad. Let's see what that is. Oh, that's 84 degrees. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice actually. We had a nice day today actually. It was a little bit chilly this morning, pretty cold. And then warmed up. It was like 55 degrees. So in yours that would be, let's see, 55 C2. That would be no, that's not right. Other way around. F2C. That'd be about 12, 13 degrees Celsius, basically, is what we were at today. So it's pretty nice, but then we're going to be down in the like mid 20s tonight, and tomorrow the high is only like 35, which would be about 2 degrees your Celsius. So do with that what you want. Bev Smith says, but I can see the pretty ones for more money once they're sexable, probably is what that says. They sell for more once they're sexable. Interesting. And Verna's talking to who's CB? Am I missing something? Anyway, Verna says, CB, do you still have your animals? I don't know if I'm missing those comments. I don't know who that is right offhand, but New Zealand Rabbit or NZ Rabbit Riot. It says, I just lost 9 New Zealand kits because the mom pulled her frozen water bowl into her nest box. Again, I should have built my boxes with higher walls. That's crazy. I've never had a rabbit. She like picked it up and pulled it into her. I mean, I guess the walls, like you said, are not too high. So maybe that's it. I have one doe that likes to pull a rabbit or water bowl all the way to the middle of the cage and dump it over every day. I don't know why, but she does that. But I've never had one actually pick it up, carry it inside the nest box. That's unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened. Verna says, summertime for you, George. Yeah, it's he's in Australia, I believe, if I remember right. So they get summer when winter, we're the opposite side of the globe. Heather wants to know, do you have Facebook? Me, yeah, I do have Facebook. There's a Facebook group, a Slightly Rednecked Facebook group. I'm not super active on social media. So, I mean, you're welcome to join the group. Lots of helpful people in there that will help you out. I don't really get in there very often. I don't post anything ever, really. I'm just not the best at social media. I'm terrible. I need to get better at it. Oh, excuse me again. Oh, David Lister says to George, yeah, thanks, but we just hatched out 42 jumbo white wings today. Circle of life, indeed. Let's see. Farmer Marshall, Urban Gardener says, I just ordered my first set of quail eggs. Shipping isn't scheduled until March 1st, but I made the commitment. I need to finish my quail hutch. Well, that'll be a deadline for you to get it finished, won't it? So, well, good luck with that hatch. Hopefully it goes well. Haig Homestead is CB. Okay. Okay, I didn't know that. George says Hulk Rabbit, LOL. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about. Bev says that's a long wait for eggs. It is a long wait for eggs, isn't it? Yeah, and then Verna just posted the link to the Facebook group, so there you go. Thank you. George says, sounds like you need a beer with all that yawning, Chris. Yeah, that wouldn't help, actually. But I do have one in the fridge. I'll have one before bed tonight. Who knows? We'll see. David says, Urban Gardener, Farmer Marshall Urban Gardener, be sure to get a standalone hydrometer. Suggests the Govee incubator thermometers mostly lie. Yeah, I think it's a standalone thermometer, though, actually, not hydrometer. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about the humidity all as much as the temperature. But yeah, it's a good point there, David, is that most of the time your thermometer in your incubators, I shouldn't say most of the time, but it's very, very, very common, no matter what brand incubator you have, for the thermometer to be off just a little bit. So if you get like a couple of different thermometers, Govies are a good one. Throw them in there and then run your incubator without any eggs in it for a little while and compare what they say the temperature is inside the incubator to what your incubator says it is. You may have to adjust it up or down a little bit to get the inside temperature actually to 99.5. Blessed with Pets is here. Hello, good to see ya. Blessed with Pets says, finally had my first 4 litters in a real long time, and I think I've 6+ more coming. They really seem pregnant too. Well, awesome. I know it's been a little while. Let's see. You just hit me on Facebook, huh? Let's see. What is it? Let me double check here. There's a notification. Yep, there it is. I got 2 people in here. I got 3 people wanting to join. Okay, I'll get to those here in a little bit because it looks like all real people, but I always have to check before I admit people. Check their profile, make sure they have more than just 2 posts, and that they're actually real people. Just do the best I can. And by the way, I do get those notifications. So if you guys ever see anything going on in the group, scammers, we've had a few of them join every once in a while. Report that stuff to me and let me know, and I'll go in and deal with it. Bev Smith says, that's a lot of babies. It is a lot of babies. It's been a while. I remember Blessed with Pets, you had a lot of issues trying to get baby rabbits. So congratulations on that. That is exciting. Farmer Marshall is in North Georgia, Zone 8A. Bev Smith says, oh, I should rejoin with my Quail page. Yeah, you're welcome to. Yeah, and I don't care if you want to, just keep things on topic in there. So if you guys start seeing like political posts or any of those kinds of things, flag them for me. I'll get in and address it. I'm just terrible about, I don't actually get on there and go through it very often. I'm just terrible about social media. Blessed with Pets says, also, I'm going to pick up 23 more rabbits tomorrow, all pedigree, as well as 35 or more cages. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of rabbits. Good luck. I hope they all do well. Heather Brooks says, I have 2 purple martin friends and Heather Brook. What? I don't know what that means exactly. I'm a little lost on that. You have 2 purple martin friends. What does that mean exactly? Beth Smith says, I'm just a little south of you in Florida. I don't know who you're talking to because Florida is a long way from me, but probably not me. George says, Florida has good beer. So does Texas. So does Missouri. We have one of the best breweries around just right down the road. Well, it's about 25 minutes from here. New Zealand Rabbit says, I just added the Facebook group also. James Dill. Okay. I'll take a look at him. Oh, okay. You have 2 pages. Purple Martin Friends and Heather Brook. Okay. That makes sense. I didn't know who your 2 Purple Martin friends were or what that meant exactly, but now I get it. Blessed with Pets says, well, I just sold some, so I have 10 babies total at the moment. Nice. So that's, well, good. Glad you got some of them sold. Soda. My weakness. I should quit drinking it, I know. Woodchick says, question, what breed to start with, New Zealand or Silver Fox meat rabbits? Whichever one you can get. If you're looking for just the best bang for your buck meat production-wise, it's hard to beat a good New Zealand. There's a reason they're the most popular meat rabbit in America. California's and New Zealand's are both really good meat rabbits. If you're looking for something a little bit more unusual that may be a little bit harder to get, so people may pay a little bit more for them if you want to sell some of them, Silver Foxes, if they're pedigreed, same thing. Honestly, if you want to sell any rabbits at all, if you're looking at purebred New Zealands versus pedigree Silver Foxes, you don't have the pedigree on the New Zealands, I'd go with the Silver Foxes. Get the pedigree. It makes them worth a little bit more, lets them sell a little bit better. If they're both pedigreed and all you want is really the meat more out of them, then I'd go with the New Zealand Whites. Just a word of caution, sometimes New Zealand Whites, especially does, can be a little bit crazy and a little bit hard to handle. So, there's that. whereas the silver foxes tend to be a lot easier to deal with, a lot more mellow. Now, with that being said, I've got like my Tamuk doe is like the nicest, easiest to handle rabbit I've ever had. I mean, she's just super friendly. So it's not an always thing. I'm just saying that's the way. I mean, I can't tell you which one to get. It's hard for me to know all the specifics there. So I know I gave you a whole bunch of things. I probably didn't give you a specific answer, but sorry. Teresa Wiggins says, "Hey, Chris and everyone, good to see you." Verna says, "I would say New Zealand." I agree. Bev says, "How much does one pay for a bunny?" I have no idea. You know, it varies greatly. I mean, around here I can get meat rabbits usually for about $10 a rabbit, but a lot, you don't know. I mean, a lot of times those are mixed breed rabbits. They're not the best. Seems like everybody around here has New Zealand and Flemish giant crosses. And in my opinion, they're not good meat rabbits. You know, if you're looking at purebred, especially with pedigrees, you're probably looking at somewhere around $30. That's a pretty good price. You know, and if they're not show rabbits that have, you know, got championship bloodlines or something, just good pedigree meat rabbits, they're usually around $30. Heather Brooks says, "Everybody stay blessed. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Good night." Well, thank you for joining us tonight, and Merry Christmas to you too. Verna says, "Usually $20, but breeders are higher." That's true. Nick says, "I'm hopefully going to pick up some Tamuk kits this week, so I'm looking forward to your Tamuk videos. I know I want to get a breeding trio, deciding if I just want 2 does or if I want 3. Well, yeah, I can't answer that one for you either, but good luck with those. I hope they go well. Mine are doing pretty well so far. Really, the test is going to be see how they do in the summertime in the heat, because that's really that's the difference between a regular New Zealand and a Tamuk. Tamuks are supposed to be bred more for heat tolerance. And Verna says, if you want a smaller breed of rabbit, then get a Havana. And David says to Farmer Marshall Urban Gardener, "We spent 3 years at Robbins AFB many years ago." I don't know what that means, but you might. George says, "Live stream next week, or is everyone on holiday?" I will probably be on next week, I think. You know, Christmas is Wednesday, so there shouldn't be any reason why I shouldn't be on Thursday as far as I know, unless there's some family stuff going on that, you know, just hasn't been planned yet. Bev Smith says, "Are they worth it for the meat or at that price, or how many pounds on average?" So you're saying like at $20 to $30? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're worth it. I mean, you get a lot of production out. I mean, if you've got a good doe that produces, say, 9 to 10 babies per litter that get up to 5 pounds at roughly 8 weeks, I mean, you can do the math on that. That's 40, 50 pounds worth of meat in 5 weeks or 8 weeks, excuse me. You know, about, well, I guess it's probably more like 16 weeks if you add, well, no, it'd be 12 weeks roughly if you add from the time you breed them to the time those, you know, it's 30 days, 4 weeks roughly when they're born, and then another 8 weeks to get them up to 5 pounds processing weight. You're looking at 40, 50 pounds worth of meat. I mean, that's yeah, they're worth it. Plus, if you're buying them for that much, and you've got, especially if you've got pedigrees, then you can sell a couple of them for that much out of every litter, help pay for your feed costs, cover the cost of the initial rabbits. So yeah, their rabbits are incredibly productive. They actually, their feed to weight conversion is better than just almost any other animal. The amount of feed that it takes to get them to gain a pound of weight, you know, like feed conversion, I guess, is really high. I mean, it's way better than cows or just about anything else. Blessed with Pets says, "I'm doing this deal mainly for the cages because they are real nice cages with trays, and it'll give me space for grow outs because I currently only have 12 cages. But the rabbits are a heck of a bonus, LOL." Yeah, that's a lot of rabbits. I don't know if I can keep up with that many. Alaska Nomad says, are we getting close to time? We are. We got about 6 minutes left. Alaska Nomad says, "Everyone have a beautiful and peaceful holiday." Thank you so much. Hopefully you do too. Blessed with Pets says, "My most expensive rabbit was $300. Yeah, but that's not a meat rabbit. That's a pet rabbit, right? You're breeding and reselling. Verna says, "Bev, if they're good breeders, then yes. make sure how old they are. I want to make sure they don't sell you their rejects. Well, that's true. And make sure you don't buy a rabbit that's like, 3 years old already. Bev Smith says, "Oh, I didn't realize they matured so quickly." Well, yeah, and keep in mind, 8 weeks is not mature, not sexually mature rabbit. It's just 5 pounds is about the processing weight. Usually, you want to make it worth it. It's not really worth it to process them at smaller weights. There's not enough meat, and from 5 pounds on, their growth is a little bit slower. So really, 5 pounds is kind of the ideal processing weight. Teresa says, "Back when I used to spin wool and knit, I wanted Angora rabbits." Yeah, that would be a good choice for that. Rebel says, "Question. We just pick up 2 lion head rabbits for Christmas gifts, brother and sister. Is it not a good idea to breed them together?" Probably not, especially if you want to sell them as pets or anything like that. If they were just meat rabbits and you wanted a meat run, I mean, it's doable. I really go by the rule. I'd never breed siblings together. Probably not a good idea. Yeah, Verna's basically saying the same thing. It's not advisable, but if you are just breeding for food, it doesn't really matter. I agree. Joy says, I used to breed Netherland dwarfs. The ones I didn't sell, I butchered and ate. They're as tasty as any other rabbit, just smaller. Yeah, well, indeed, you're right. Any rabbit could be a meat rabbit. Yeah, the size is almost doesn't make it worth it. Blessed with Pets says, I just had my first pedigree Teddy Whiter, I think it is. Teddy Whiter, I don't know what it is. Litter, LOL, I'm so excited and about to have my first pedigree Lionhead litter. I mainly do pedigree Holland Lops. Well, nice. I'm glad you got some something new in there. George says, Netherland dwarf with a question mark. LOL, rabbits aren't my forte, but I like the banter in the chat about them. Yeah, Netherland dwarfs are really small. Pet rabbits is what they are. They're big in the pet industry. Nick says, I'm paying over $90 for a trio, and it includes a pedigree and lineage sheet going back for 4 years. 4 generations, probably, not years. It's also a local veteran-owned company, all unrelated kits, so that's a plus for me. Yeah, that actually sounds like a pretty good deal. $90 for a trio, that's like $30 a piece. That's a good price. Teresa says, I'd love dwarf rabbits for pets. Yeah, that's what I think most people buy them for. I mean, the dwarfs they're just known for being pet rabbits. I get some people every once in a while that want to buy, like silver foxes or New Zealand's from me for like pets. And, I mean, if that's what they really want, I'll sell them to them, but they're not really the best pet rabbits. You're better off going with like a lop or a Netherland dwarf or something like that. All right, we're getting really close to time to wrap this one up. The chat has kind of slowed down. Berna says, everyone have a blessed Yule/Christmas. Yep, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Bev Smith says, I wish I could feed my dog rabbits, but they do well on red meat. The quail do the trick. Yeah, I mean, my dog, he does fine on rabbit too. I throw some in there every once in a while. But a lot of we bounce around different proteins. So we use beef, we use pork sometimes, we use chicken, turkey, rabbit, quail. I mean, we mix it up. Blessed with Pets says, yeah, I brought 4 to the pet store today, and they gave me 40 each. Well, that's not terrible. Joy says they have nice loins and legs. I don't know which ones we're talking about, but it makes sense. Blessed with Pets says, I bring my overflow to them. Well, it's nice you have a pet store that you can sell through. That always makes it a little bit easier. The downside of selling to a pet store is you've got to sell it a little bit cheaper because they've got to make a profit still. All right. I think chat's kind of slowed down. It's probably, we only got like 1 minute left. It's probably a good point to go ahead and just end this one for tonight. Thank you guys for joining me. I do appreciate it. And again, Merry Christmas, because we won't see you guys again until after Christmas. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll hopefully see you guys next week. And as always, God bless. Well, wait a minute. We got one more question. Woodtick says, do you have a good pet food recipe? I'm thinking of doing it for my dog. I don't follow a specific recipe necessarily. We kind of follow the barf model. Look up raw dog food calculator. You can put in barf method is basically 80% lean muscle meat, 20% or 10% bone, and then 10% organ. And the organ is split between liver and another secreting organ. So if you look at rawdogfoodcalculator.com, you can put in what you're going to use for your bone, and it'll spit out calculations for you. It's a little bit easier that way. So anyway, look into some raw food diets, because that's not everything they need. He also gets a vitamin supplement, like a vitamin E and a kelp supplement for iodine, and then a couple of New Zealand mussels a day for the manganese, because that's hard to provide for them without a full prey diet. Joyce says dwarfs can be aggressive. Well, that may not be a good choice. So for pet. Okay, now it is past time, so we'll wrap it up here. So again, thank you guys for joining. I stopped short. We'll do this all over again. Thank you guys for joining tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. We will hopefully see you guys all next week. And as always, God bless.